Hello everyone, I welcome you to the ABRSM Grade 4 Rudiment of Music class. I want to start by congratulating you for making it from Grade 1 to Grade 3 and now in Grade 4. Your being in Grade 4 simply shows that you've taken the Grade 3 ABRSM exam and you've successfully passed the exam, and that's why you're in Grade 4. So once again, I congratulate you. Before we start this lesson, just let me use this opportunity to inform you that most of what we are going to be, or some of what we are going to be looking at in grade 4 are accumulation and aggregation of what we've done from grade 1 to grade 3. So sometimes you might be referred back to some of the lessons from grade 3, grade 2, grade 1 to help you understand and sharpen your understanding of what some of the subjects or concepts or topics we'll be considering in grade 4. So once again, congratulations, you've made it. And I hope and I believe you will make it through the topics we have in grade 4 and eventually sit for the exam. So to get started, our lesson for today will be regular time signatures. So today we'll be considering regular time signatures. Of course, when I say regular, it means we have other types, not very common type of time signatures that are what we term as irregular, which you would consider in grade 5. But now, all the time signatures we've considered so far from grade 1 to grade 3 and now in grade 4, they are all regular time signatures. Now, learning object outcomes for today's class will be 1, to revisit the categories of time signatures. So we look at all the different categories of time signatures we have. We've done those in the past, but we'll just revisit them. 2, to revisit the difference between simple and compound time signatures. And lastly, we'll be introducing some new simple and compound time signatures, in addition to the ones you've known before. And you will find out that as we go over the class, this introduction will actually not mean too much based on the foundations you have already, because it's just the same interpretation of how you've interpreted the previous simple and compound times that you've done. It's the same way you interpret these new ones that we'll be introducing. So let's cut the cheese. Let's go straight to the matter. These are the categories of the time signature we have, and I believe um, you've encountered time signatures from grade 1 where you had a simple time signature to grade 2 and then to grade 3 where you were introduced to compound time signature. So these are the categories. We have the duple time, the triple time, the quadruple time. I do not need to remind you that when you talk about duple, you're talking about 2 counts. That is all time signature that has 2 as their top number, as the what we call in mathematics numerator, or what you call the top number, or the number that shows the top number that shows the number of bits. So every bit that has 2 on top of it are all simple duple. That's duple time signature, simple duple. On the other hand, every bit that has 6 on top are compound duple. Simply because if you have a simple duple of 2 and you want to change that simple duple to compound duple, you multiply the 2 by 3, you get 6. So whatever the category is, if you multiply it by 3, you get the compound component of it. That's the max. So the same thing here. You have um, simple triple. That is all time signatures that has 3 on top. 3, 2, 3, 4, 3, 8, And if you multiply this 3 by 3, you have 9. So all compound, all time signature, that has 9 on, on top of them are compound triple. So that you know the difference. Then we have the quadruple, which can be simple quadruple in that case, all time signatures that has 4 on top. So you have 4, 2, 4, 8, 4, 4, 4. And of course, when you multiply that 4 by 3 to get the compound equivalent, you have the compound quadruple. So all numbers, all uh, key signature, compound key signatures that have 12 on top of them, those are compound quadruple. So by now, this is just we're revising the categories of time signature. You have the duple, the triple, the quadruple, and they could be simple, they could be compound, each of those category. And when we talk about simple, it simply means that the note divides itself into two, and that's what um, we've talked about. Simple time signature means each note, each bit in the time signature can divide itself into two smaller bits. However, if in the compound time, like we discussed in during time in grade 3, each compound time signature, the bits, the main bit in the compound time signature can divide itself into three equal bits. So for you to be able to get that three equal bits, then it means your standard bit has to be a dotted bit. And that's why you see for the time signature where we have 2 4, for example, here we don't say 6 8, rather you say two dotted crochet beads. It's still the same thing as 6 8. Remember, this is a dotted crochet. So it's two dotted, instead of saying two crochet beads, that's simple time signature. Once you put the dot, it becomes compound time signature. Two dotted crochet beads, that becomes compound time signature. But because in music, you can't write 2 and put a dot over 4 in terms of the number. So that's why we have to change that 2, multiply it by 3, so that you get 6, and then you multiply the bottom number by 2 so that you get 8. So it's 6 8. So that's the equivalent. So each of these time signature, simple time signature, to get the equivalent in a compound time, for example, this is 3 4. To get the equivalent, that is 3 dotted crochet. Instead of saying 3 crochet, which is simple, you say 3 dotted crochet is simply to get multiply 3 by the upper number by 3, which will give you 9, and the lower number by 2, which will give you 8. So 3 times 3 9, 4 times 2 8. So that gives you 9 8, which is the equivalent of 3 dotted crochet. So the same thing with this, and you can see all this. So this crochet here now, let's say 2 4, can divide itself into two smaller bits, two quiver, two quiver. And then you can see, why do we have to put two dotted crochet? We've done all this in grade 3, but we're just revisiting it. Why do we have to put dotted crochets or dotted beads for a compound time? So that it allows us to divide each of these bits into 3 equal smaller bits. In this case, 3 quavers, or whatever the note ought to be. So that's the fundamental principle. Don't forget that. Simple time signature, the standard bit divides itself into can divide itself into two smaller units. And for compound time signature, the standard bit can divide itself into three. The standard bit, which is a dotted bit, can divide itself into 3 smaller units. So all these I've said, it's just a matter of revisiting our time signature, the simple time signature, the compound time signature. These have all been treated in grade 3. So please, if you still struggle, it's very important I say here, if you still struggle, please revisit our grade 3 lesson 1. The video is available on our YouTube page. So please revisit that lesson and really get grounded in the differences between simple and compound time signature. But just by way of um, summarizing this particular aspect, so simple time signature that we have 3 8. All what we've done 3 8. We've done 2 4 3 4 4 4 2 2 3 2 4 2. So these are all the simple time signature we've done from grade 1 to grade 8. So I'm not going to touch them again. Like I said, we have the videos available. You can go. So you can see 3 8. These are simple time signature that has the quaver, has the standard beat. 2 4 3 4 4 4. Simple time signature that has the crochet as the standard beat. And we have 2 2 3 2 4 2. Simple time signature that has the minim, that's the bottom note now, the minim as the standard beat. Then for compound time signature, which we started in grade 3, we only looked at 3 compound time signatures: 6 8, 9 8, and 12 8. So in other words, we looked at 2 dotted crochet, 3 dotted crochet, and 4 dotted crochet. Remember, when you are talking about compound time signature, you're talking about dotted bits. So you convert these numbers to dotted bits. So those are the things, those are the ones we've considered, where we have the dotted crochet, which is what you call the eighth year, as the standard beat. Now, for this grade 4, in this grade 4 class, we'll be introducing some new uh, time signature. Like I said, it's nothing different. It's the same way you interpret all the time signature that you've done in the past. That's just the same way you're going to interpret this new set of time signature. It's just to add to the number, not any, there is no significant difference. So now let's start with the simple time signature we're introducing. Only one time signature we're introducing, which will, because if you look at what I've shown you before, you find out that we've done a lot of simple time signature, 2, 8, 3, 4, 4, 4. So it's only one time signature that we are going to introduce, which is 4/8, 4/8, and that is 4 quiver beats in a bar. Already you know that this is 4 quiver beats. So 4 is the number, 8 is the beat, quiver beats in a bar, and that is um, a simple quadruple. Quadruple because 4 is the number that is on the top, so that is why it's quadruple. But what I want to mention here is that 4/8 and 2/4 are basically the same. That's 2/4, where you have 2 crochet beats in a bar, or simple double, because you can see that's 2, so it's a double and it's simple double. So 2 crochet beats in a bar, they're basically the same because if you count how many, if you have 2 crochets and you break those 2 crochets into quavers, it will turn to 4 quavers. So if you break these 2 crochets, a crochet, you divide them into quavers, you have 4. So they are the same. You sometimes you don't know what the difference is. So you can either, if you see a piece of music like that, it can either be 4/8 or 2/4. So they have the same notation, but just know that if you decide to say 4/8, the way you will play it will be different from if you decide to call that same piece of music 2/4, because 2/4 now you are taking a crochet as your standard beats. So it's not going to be, in principle, it's going to be, and then if you are, it's not going to be as fast as 4/8, because 4/8 you have a shorter a quiver, which is a kind of a shorter note as your standard beat. So this is what I'm trying to say here. Now, if you look at this, these notes here, you find out that it can either be, if 2/4, because this will be 1 crochets, and these two will form 2 crochets, so it is 2 crochet beats in a bar. On the other, and if you do go through the same bars, it's going to be the same thing. On the other hand too, I can say it's 4/8 because this crochet can be divided into 4 quavers, and these two, this crochet can be divided into 2 quavers, and these are already 2 quavers, so I end up having 4 quavers. So you see, it's 4/8. So it can either be 4/8, it can either be 4/8, all right, or it can be 2/4. It can be 2/4. Okay, it can be 2/4. So any of them you put there is correct. So just to tell you that this is just the only time signature we're introducing here in grade 4, and you can find out that it's the same with all the simple time signature you've done before. Now let's go to compound time signature. What are we introducing? We're introducing a lot of compound time signatures this time around, because in grade 3 we only introduced 3 compound time signature: 6/8, 9/8, and 12/8. So those are time signature that has the dotted crochet as their standard beat. But now we have to have this time signature now has the dotted meaning as standard beat. So you have 6/4, 9/4. So 6/4 is what does 6/4 mean? 6/4 simply means 2 dotted meaning beats in a bar. 2 dotted meaning beats in a bar. That's 6/4. Then 9/4 is 3 dotted meaning beats in a bar. 3 dotted meaning beats in a bar. So you can already tell that this is a compound double and this is a compound triple time signature. So those are the two we are introducing. It's the same interpretation, it's just that we're now introducing dotted meaning beats. In grade 3 we introduced dotted crochet beats, and then we're also introducing dotted quiver beats. So where you have 16 as the bottom number, the denominator, that is dotted quiver. So in this case now, here you have for this is two dotted quiver beats, because you have six semiquavers, because 16 is semiquavers, six semiquavers. You can divide them into three semiquavers, three semiquavers. These three semiquavers on this group will form one dotted quiver. Then another three semiquaver on this group will form another dotted quiver. So that gives you two dotted quavers in a bar. Two dotted quavers in a bar. And in that same principle, this gives you three dotted quavers in a bar, and then this gives you four dotted quavers in a bar. It is the same principle of understanding that if you with these dotted notes now, dotted beats rather, you can, like these three two dotted quavers, each of those dotted quiver can be divided into three smaller notes of semiquavers. So if you divide these three semiquavers, then another the other one three semiquavers, then you end up having six semiquavers. That is 616 now. So that is the idea. So this is two dotted notes, two dotted quavers in a bar, three dotted quavers in a bar, three dotted quavers, and this is four dotted quavers in a bar. Uh, Lastly, on this point, let me just rub off these. Lastly, on this point, we've looked at dotted crochet beats already. That's why we're not considering it here again. We've already considered that in grade 3. So the only thing now is that we're just saying that there are dotted meaning beats and there are dotted quiver beats, and the principle is fundamentally the same. So as we wrap up, just to remind you once again that we have simple time signature, we have compound time signature. And for each of the simple and compound time signature, there is double time, triple time, quadruple time. If for simple time signature, if the top number are 2, then that is double. It means 2 beats of whether crochet, quiver, or whatever. If the top number is 3, it means it is triple time. If the top number is 4, it's quadruple time. For compound time, if the top number is 6, uh, that means it's double time, because we're talking of 2 dotted beats. This 6 simply means 2 dotted beats, so it's double time. 9 means 3 dotted beats, so it is triple time. And 12 means 4 dotted beats, so it's triple time. So that's the interpretation. So you should be able to play around. This is the complete, everything we have here is what we call regular time signature. Regular time signature. That is what that's everything contained on this slide. And finally, these are our exercises for this week, pages 4 to 19 of your workbook. So go through exercises 1, skip 2, and then go to 3, 4, 5, and then kindly submit, and then we will be able to go through the correction in our next class. So until I see you again in the next class, please read and revise ahead of the next topic we'll be having in our rudiment of music. So once again, God bless you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.